Hello, welcome to another episode of Swapping Joysticks. I'm your host, Ben Austria, otherwise known as Biggest Penis, and joining me, as always, on this middle of August episode is
A very jet-lagged, sleepy Ed Nights.
Ed Knight. Oh, what a pity. And I'm wearing my glasses as well, because I cannot be asked to put my contacts in, because I've also had a nap this evening.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, apart from sleepy and tired?
Sleepy and tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm less grumpy than I was about 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I was like,
So
I'm going
that's
in the
something.
office and just staying away from you. You didn't even say anything. You just like, yeah, that's for the best.
That is a very good idea.
Yeah. So why are you so tired and jet lagged? And
Because I've been away.
where have you been away?
I've been in New York City.
Oh.
Um,
Well, I'm sure that's
Yeah.
nice. New Donk City. Did you donk anything?
I did not donk. No. Yeah, I've been away on a press trip.
Oh, what were you playing?
I can't tell you. I don't think. Um,
But I'm not going to say anything. But if you look on Twitter at people at New York, some people have said
been
where
playing
they
a
are.
certain game, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't. I think I'm under embargo, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
But it was in New York, which is a long flight away.
Hmm. It's not. Well, I always thought it was short because I think I flew because I've only been once ages ago in another life, and I flew from Bristol, and I feel like it was really short. It was like 6 hours, or 5 or 6 hours.
So flying there, I think was like 7,
Yeah, for you it was.
but flying back it was 6.
You were in a little prop plane there, though, weren't you? It was interesting because I was obviously following and slash stalking where you were on the flight radar.
Of course.
And it's interesting because it puts all the planes in there, and I look, and there's like massive, massive, massive jumbo jet, massive, massive, and there's like you.
Yeah. So we flew. Well, I mean, it's a press trip, so it's paid for, and thank you very much to the company that paid for it.
However,
Well, we flew JetBlue, who I've never flown before,
hmm,
and I get the impression they're like the Ryanair of the States.
apologies to anybody.
Maybe.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, please tell me if I'm wrong, but I got that impression.
Yeah.
And just
Did everybody
just in
clap
that,
when you landed?
no, thankfully. God, I hate it when people do that. It's just patronising.
It's the equivalent of Cheers Drive.
No, it's not. It's that. Oh my God, well done. You did your job. No, I hate it.
It's relief, Ed. It's relief.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm like gripping the seat as we're landing. I don't mind. I'm not the worst flyer, but I'm also not the best. I used to really like it, and more recently, I've started getting major like travel nerves before traveling. But I'm actually all right coming back, and I don't know if that's just because I'm tired and I'm looking forward to being home. But I don't feel anywhere near as anxious coming home for some reason.
That's good.
But going out, I always get like travel nerves and my stomach's flipping and I'm gripping the seat.
I think
I think mostly that's in my head. It's not.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
an actual thing.
there's a very small chance of it crashing.
Yeah.
Although
I literally have a chant in my head of like, flying is the safest form of travel.
yeah, you've got a bigger chance of dying on the way to the airport than you have on the plane.
Great.
And because we went, obviously we flew. We'll talk about it in a minute, but we flew the other day, and in between, because we flew to a place and we flew back the following day. So, and in that time between, in the 36 hours or whatever between those two flights, there was that Brazilian air crash. And I don't know if you saw the video.
I mean, I was not looking at that.
Good, because I saw
So
it.
thanks for that.
No, well, it's fine. It's afterwards. But we're not flying until later this year. But I saw that, and the plane was like spinning. It was like in an uncontrollable spin and just went down and crashed. And apparently it was like going down for 2 minutes. And I was like, can you imagine the horror?
Oh my God, Ben, I don't want to think about that.
Well, I saw that just before we were going to fly back home. So I was like, oh.
Wow.
But I don't think
Well, thanks for
I don't
that.
think Brazilian air safety is anywhere near as good as some places.
True. So whenever I've flown to the States in the past, I have always flown either BA or Virgin. And usually they're pretty big planes with seats of like 343, so 2 aisles. Whereas with JetBlue, it was just sort of 1 aisle, like just a normal plane that you
like
and I
the one
would
that
get
we
like
went,
across
yeah.
Europe somewhere. It's literally that, except for it's flying all the way to America. And that annoying thing of like you can't choose your seats unless you pay for it, and all the
Ugh.
sort of extras that you get with like a Ryanair. is what JetBlue do, but also really expensive because I'd seen how much the flights were. So yeah, it was not my favourite flight. Coming back was at least quick, but overnight, and I cannot sleep on planes. Although I say that, I think I did actually drift off because I missed breakfast.
You
so,
definitely drifted off if you missed breakfast.
Yeah.
Did you? And you wore a face mask or an eye mask?
Yeah, they did have a little thing with an eye mask and earplugs.
Did it have funny eyes on it or anything comical on the other
it was
side?
just blue with JetBlue written on it,
Oh.
funnily enough. I watched Chat
roulette. That was risky on a flight.
Sorry, dry throat.
It's that aircon.
Genuinely, my throat and my eyes are so dry from constant aircon throughout America, which I'm just not used to at all. But the flight especially, it's like it's really strong aircon.
You had that in Las Vegas, didn't you? Where it was just aircon everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's so hot.
There you go, my throat's dry. Yeah, I watched Challenges on the way back.
And how was that?
Which was the very sexy film, which was advertised as, here's one of our new films that you can watch. And I was like, great. And it literally comes up at the start saying, be aware if there are people around you for which this film might be inappropriate.
But you're on a plane, so you can't go and ask and check with everybody around you.
I mean, there is that. And I saw it on the way there, but I was sat next to an old lady on the way there. And I thought,
She might have liked it.
I don't think she would appreciate this. And I was the middle seat, and I just thought, And on the way back, I was unfortunately row 13, and I really wanted to swap, but the other people I was with were also row 13. So I couldn't really swap with anyone. And it was also the emergency aisle, and you have to say, are you okay with helping? And I was really tempted to be like, no, can you move me to a different row, please?
Yeah. Do I look like somebody that's working?
I just don't like 13. I'm superstitious.
Yeah, you're very superstitious.
About 13.
And
but then
standing on manhole covers in the street.
Also that as well. But the couple I was with, they were aisle and window, and I was going to be the middle. And as I approached, the guy said...
Well, isn't this a very challenger's thing?
Well, there you go. The guy said, oh, would you mind if I move over and you sit in the aisle? I was actually like, thank you so much, because I wanted the aisle, and I ended up with a middle seat.
How did he... I'm guessing he didn't... Like, I wonder what... I don't even know how that even happens, because
I think maybe they didn't select they weren't able to select the seats, and they were just sort of put there.
Yeah, but you think that you'd put groups together, but then if you were selected... If they put you down there first, why on earth would they put you in the middle?
As I said, the Ryanair of America.
Yeah.
It felt very like that. So, yeah, I watched Challenges on the way back, which is quite a sexy film.
There's threesomes and dick slapping.
Yeah, well, the only bit of it I'd seen was a GIF on Twitter where one guy gets his hard-on slapped by another guy.
Was it hot?
Yeah. And there's some sexy times with Zendaya. But it's a very good film. I enjoyed watching it.
But it's about tennis, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Like pent-up aggression and emotions on the tennis court. And on the way there, I watched Mean Girls, but the new musical version of it.
Oh, I've heard that's really good.
It's not.
Oh.
Like, the original Mean Girls is one of my favourite ever films. It's incredible. I went to see the musical, funnily enough, in New York a few years ago, and I went with friends. And the musical was fun. It's not as good as the film, but it was fun. And they've now done a new film version of that musical, and it's just not very good. I don't think it's cast very well. Renee Rapp is Regina George, and she's brilliant.
Who's that?
I didn't really know her, apart from she's just around everywhere on social media. And I think she sings in musicals. I think someone's going to tell me I'm completely wrong now. I think that might have been where she became famous, or maybe through TV or something. But she's now everywhere, and she is a very good singer, and she nails that part. But the rest of the casting I just don't think is very good. And they sort of try and modernize Mean Girls.
Is it not modern enough?
No.
It only came out a few years ago, right?
It's quite a long time ago. Lindsay Lohan is in it, though.
Is she?
Yeah.
She's a teacher.
Spoiler, she plays the host of the math competition.
Okay, interesting. Oh, that's good.
So basically, all she has to do is stand there and go, correct. Yes, well done. That's the correct answer. So that's all the acting that she has to do.
Oh. It's a bit like how in Hairspray they brought Ricky Lake for that.
Did they?
Yeah.
Huh.
She's one of the scouts in the final. Like, the judges that come in with all the sunglasses and the suits.
Oh.
She's one of them.
Okay.
I love that film. I've watched that film 6 times in the cinema. I was working in the cinema at the time, so
Well,
it was free, but I remember going in completely blind. I had no idea what it was about and watched it. And I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, out of the 6 times I went, easily 3 of them at the end, everybody clapped. And that's rare I think in British cinemas.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, but it finishes on such a high, and I think everyone just has that buzz at the end after You Can't Stop the Beat.
I mean, that's an absolute banger.
Yeah.
Anyway, to answer your question, so I watched challenges, and then yes, we were given a little pack with eye mask and stuff. So I thought, I'll try and sleep. I don't anticipate sleeping, and I know I kept waking up because I was just so uncomfortable. I kept shifting, but suddenly there was only an hour left, and I'd missed breakfast. So I guess I did doze in and out a bit, but it wasn't good quality sleep. Like, I don't feel like I slept.
No. Well, you did this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I came back and thought I'd like a nap for a couple of hours just to take the edge off.
Yeah.
Make sure I sleep properly later. And then I slept for 4 hours.
And 3.5.
And then was grumpy because I wanted to not sleep the whole afternoon.
But the thing is, that sleep was the bit that you missed last night, so you'll have a fresh sleep coming up.
I hope so.
Yeah. Put on an audiobook. The thing is, yeah, I did like wake you up, and then that was it. Straight back to sleep again. I was like,
Did you?
but yeah. Like I set the alarm. The alarm went off and everything.
Did it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, I just thought I slept through till 7.
No. Anyway. Oh, so that
I'm
was
quite tired. Also,
yeah.
jet lag's weird when you get off a plane and like everything's moving and swinging from side to side.
You literally laid on the bed and went, the bed's moving.
Yeah. It's horrible.
But
don't like
I mean,
jet
you
lag.
have flown 4 times in the last week.
Yeah.
Your carbon footprint, Ed.
I know.
This is
And we're
not a
getting a long
carbon-
train next week.
It's not a carbon neutral podcast. Yeah, I mean, a long train's better than flying.
It was,
Right.
last week wasn't for work, but this was for work, so fine.
Yeah.
And I did get to see some of New York.
It was an unnecessary trip last week, though.
Wow.
Well, because we didn't need to go. Oh, well, do you want to
True.
finish your New York
Yeah,
spiel?
I have mixed feelings about New York.
They didn't seem very mixed when you came back. You're like, New York shit.
Well, in part. It's a really
You're trying to be diplomatic, aren't you?
Well, I am a bit. It is a really cool place to go. And when you see it in films and all the stuff and...
So
What?
you don't need to put the microphone in your face.
All right.
You know, we do a test before the podcast starts. I'm like, do a little test. And you're there like, hello, can you hear me? And then then the podcast starts and you start like deep throating the microphone.
I'm just leaning on it. I'm
I've noticed.
tired, Ben. I need to rest my face. It's a cool place to go. And in the same way that I like London, New York is like you can do and see anything you want to do because it's got everything all in one place. So it is
Like
a cool,
Toys R Us.
it is a cool place to go to. I think for me, it's just, I mean, and I love London. I love living in London because it's exciting and because it's big and there's everything there. But for me, New York is just a bit too big and a bit too busy and it takes too long to get anywhere. You either walk, but then you have to stop every single block because of the traffic, or getting a cab takes forever because there's really
Did you get a
bad
cab
traffic.
apart from to the airport?
Just actually, yeah, we did get an Uber across because we were in one area and we were given vouchers, so it was easy to get an Uber. But I also got the subway, and
I've
that
never been on it.
is bigger than the tube and air-conned, which is nice, but the actual underground area is not. And I also find it really confusing. Like, and I'm sure Americans are going to be like, what the hell, it's really easy. But the London Underground, every line has a different name and a different colour. So you know, like, either I'm going to get the district line or just the green line, and that's that. Whereas New York, they're all letters
I
and
don't know.
numbers.
District
and
line
very...
is not a good example for something that's not confusing.
Okay, fine, because it's got different branches. But like, there's usually like a single line with a name and a color, and you know what you're doing. Whereas the New York is all letters and numbers and very similar colors. And I'm like, so what? I need to get the A, then the N, and then I need to change to a 3. And I'm like, what? It's just a bit confusing to me.
Did you see any fights or gunfights?
No,
Any-
it wasn't quite GTA. There was a lot of police going around.
Oh. Staying clear of the clothing. No, I remember that bit on. I've never been on the subway, but that's all I've heard that a lot. Did they say
I
that?
probably heard that. Yeah, I don't quite remember.
It's their
yeah,
equivalent of mind the gap.
Yes. So yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just a bit too much. It's like sensory overload, and it's really hard to like catch a break. And it's just incredibly expensive. So I bought a bagel, which admittedly was a very nice bagel from like a nice deli, but it was $18.
How much?
For a bagel.
Oh.
Now, it was a pretzel bagel, which was very salty.
Yeah, I remember you sent me a message being like, it's really salty, which is amazing. And then 20 minutes later, you're like, no, that wasn't.
No, I was very thirsty. It was a pretzel bagel. And then, because I had all these different types of bagels, then all these different types of cream cheese. So with olives or scallions or garlic or horseradish. So I just had plain because I wanted to taste the salmon. And then they had all these different like massive cuts of salmon that they were freshly slicing. So I had pastrami cured salmon, which was very nice. So it felt like very New York thing to do. But equally, it was not $18 worth of bagel.
And did you pay $18?
Well, not me personally.
No, but like, did it? And that's the thing that annoys me a bit. And I know it's just a different cultural thing, but in the US, like it says, hey, this is $18. Where in the UK, if you go to a sandwich shop and it's like, this is £15, you're like, okay, that's expensive, but you're paying £15 for that.
Oh, as in tax and tip.
But there's like two taxes, isn't there? Because in New York they have the New York tax, plus the sales tax.
The tax wasn't so bad, I don't think. I mean, so I didn't see the price because they didn't have a menu, so I didn't know how much it was until I literally put my card down. He was like, "That's $18." I was like, "Okay." And then once you tapped your card, it then comes up saying, "How much do you want to tip?" And it will have like three options.
Now you weren't the British person and gave them 0, did you?
I didn't skip. I tipped, but I just picked the lowest option every time, which was usually, I think, 20%, sometimes 18%. But usually there's like 20, 25, 30.
Do you not respect servers? It wasn't even your money.
In all honesty, the service was not great. Now, I feel like this is a New York thing that everyone is just a bit like London, a bit grumpy and a bit over it. But I didn't get a lot of like nice...
Have a nice day.
I mean, people do say that, but it was a lot of grumpiness, if I'm honest. And just everyone's very short and they're like, I don't have time for this. What do you want? You're like, okay, I want this. Put your money down. Thanks, go. Who's next? You're like, okay, thanks, bye. So the best service I had was in the Japanese cafe next to our hotel. I had a very lovely Japanese lady who made me a flat white each morning.
Not a matcha tea?
No, I just went for, I needed coffee.
Yeah, we'll have enough of that, I'm sure, in Japan.
So also where we were staying was right next to Kat's Delicatessen, which is very famous. I think it's famous anyway, but it's the deli in When Harry Met Sally, when she's doing the orgasm scene, which you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I do, because you made me watch a bit, and I was like, no, I don't know this.
There you go.
Then you were like, isn't this amazing? I'm like, no.
Well, no, it's not amazing. It's not like a favorite film. It's just, it's a famous scene.
Did you do an orgasm in there?
I did not. I was just shocked at the prices because I had a pastrami sandwich, which was very nice and very typical New York. It was $30 for a sandwich.
Like with all loads of stuff in it?
So it was 2 bits of rye bread and then freshly cut pastrami. And they do give you a little bit at the counter to taste first, which I tasted that and thought, that's really nice. Cool, I've had some, I'm good to go. But no, and then I had an entire sandwich, which was like, I don't know, what's that, like maybe like 4-inch thick?
Definitely 8 inches.
Sure. Like 4 inches or so of like just meat. Like,
yeah.
Which was way too much. And then the pickle on the side. Oh, and there was mustard in it as well. And the pickle on a plate on the side. Like, give me half the meat, put the pickle in the sandwich, and charge me a tenner. Like, I don't need $30 worth of a sandwich. It's ridiculous. And I'm sure it's because it's Kat's Delicatessen. But, like, it was nice, but it was way too much.
And then it's extra, and then you have to pay. So it's actually 40 you end up paying.
So it was, I say 30, I think it was $28.95. So it was probably a bit more, and then I bought a bottle of water, and then I tipped. So yeah, it's probably more like 33, 4 or something like that.
Oh. 33, but that's still only like 10% tip. You're harsh.
Or maybe it was more than that. Then I can't remember. But you just tap your card and go. But it's just so expensive. And then in the afternoon, I was like, I want some lunch. But where do I go that isn't either a $1 pizza or burger or another expensive sandwich or a sit-down meal that's then going to cost you shit tons? So, like, New York is great, but I just think you have to have the money to enjoy it.
Didn't you have chips?
Sorry?
Didn't you just get some really expensive chips?
Well, there was a chip, again, opposite the hotel where after wandering around, I was like, oh, I'll just go to the chip place opposite. And it was...
fries. I apologize to any Americans that listen to this.
And it was
offended left, right, and centre.
It was $6.95 for a cone of fries, which was the smallest size, which was also massive. So God knows how big or large would have been. That's where Five Guys
gets it from, I guess.
Probs. And so it was a cone of fries, and then it was $1.75, I think, for some sauce on the side. So I had some garlic aioli to dip in.
That's similar from McDonald's.
And then it was tax and tip. So I think it was like $12 or something overall for a cone of fries. Yeah. That I then stood on the street and ate while surrounded by the sewage stench of New York and weed.
I guess it's legal there.
So also it's stiflingly hot. It's, I think, similar temperature to what it's been here. It was like 29, 30, but it just feels so hot. And even though there's aircon, as soon as you step outside, it's just like stiflingly hot.
Yeah.
So, but then you sit in a taxi and you look around and you're like, oh my God, I'm in New York. And we had like a drink on a boat looking out and you could see the Statue of Liberty and, you know, all that sort of stuff. And you're like, there's some really cool sights and it's New York. But also I didn't have long enough to really go around and see much of it. So, anyway, this has been a massive rant. So I'll stop
go for it. In fact, well, it's interesting because, yeah, you were doing that. And I was, so yesterday I was in central London for, I did a panel at Condé Nast, which I hadn't heard of before. And then
I was like, yeah, that's GQ and Vogue and
Wired magazine.
Yeah.
And like some food as well. I had no idea, what they did. Well, I knew of all their magazines, but I didn't know that was the name of the company. And yeah, they invited me to talk about like gaming and the gamification of brands and things like that, which was really interesting. They put me on a panel with two other really, really nice, incredibly intelligent, incredibly like people who are so good at formulating a really well perfected answer. And
Did you feel a bit stupid?
I did feel a bit stupid. I felt a little bit. I did get a bit of imposter syndrome at midway, but there were some questions that were very much directed at them because they work with brands and stuff, and I don't necessarily have that experience of what they do. So they were asking me different types of questions, but I'm sure it was fine. But it was like I was listening to them being like, I'm like, I forget sometimes I'm on the panel because I'm just listening to them being like, this is really interesting what they're talking about. But no, that was really cool. But no, I just brought that up because I was walking around and it was only like 24, 25 degrees in London yesterday. But it was just so humid. Like I was sweating like a mess. And everybody, like we all arrived and we're like, it's just so sweaty.
Yeah.
But that was, so that wasn't. Then I went to a private members club, which wasn't as nice as
you had a fancy day, didn't you?
I did. And none of that cost me anything because it was no, I just had like a little business chat with a couple of really nice peeps. Yeah, next to a swimming pool. It wasn't as nice as I thought it would be inside. But I think it was like in the basement.
Yeah, that's why.
We went also.
Well, just quickly, when I was in New York, I also went to the Nintendo store.
You did?
I bought you a gift.
Sorry, I didn't bring this up.
Why don't you stand up and show everyone?
No, I'm not standing up too far.
So it is a grey Animal Crossing t-shirt with KK Slider at the DJ decks.
KK slide on this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I had a panic as to what size to buy.
Yeah, and you went for the smallest.
It was American sizes, and I was like, I don't know what's going to fit you.
So you went for the smallest size, and it actually fits perfectly.
There you go. Yeah, it wasn't like amazing at the Nintendo store, but like they had lots of stuff, and it's obviously all the different games.
I can't believe I talked you out of getting me a Waluigi cap.
Yeah, it was $25 for a Waluigi cap, and I just thought that's not going to fit your head.
Waluigi.
Yeah, it wouldn't have fit your head. I put it on like the biggest setting and put it on my head, and it didn't feel massive. So I was like, that's not going to fit you.
You think like I think that's one thing with Americans. I feel a lot of them are fat heads like me.
Yeah, but also it's basically a store for kids,
How dare?
predominantly.
That's true. Because I've always been like, I'd love to do a tour, of the, like a Western tour, like a tour of the. I do like a good old Western film, and I love the idea and the setting and everything. So I'd love to go and see some museums or see some places. And I was like, I've got to get a cowboy hat. But I bet they make those for people with heads like me.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you go to one where they like steam it for you, so it's all shaped around your head, yeah, you can
I'll be a total tourist and be like, it was this stupid Englishman. But I'd be like, no, it would feel good to have one. But I'd never wear it anywhere, and I'd probably just leave it. Because
it's just a memento to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, if you go to like Texas, you have to get a cowboy hat.
Yeah,
And
I
some
see
boots.
that. Yeah, cowboy boots.
Yeah. But those ones you can probably wear because you kind of tuck them under your jeans.
Maybe it depends how flashy you go.
You'd go for like Dolly Parton-esque ones, wouldn't you?
No, absolutely not. But then you've got to go line dancing in them.
I went to line dancing class when I was in junior school, and we learned the dance to 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, I know that already. I don't need the class for that.
Oh.
Oh my God.
What was that just fell?
It was your glasses case that was holding the blinds open.
Okay. So if it starts banging, then we know I need to pause.
It's like, I literally just put my drink down. I was like, did I just spill that?
So
Sorry,
we
anyway.
also went on another flight
Well, we both went on a little trip last week
to Austria.
to Austria,
Which you can't say in a
which
normal
was
accent.
which was meant to be for Taylor Swift,
Yes.
and then she cancelled. How dare her?
I know.
How dare she? Even
It was, yeah. So it was like a bit of a win-win situation because we got to go to Austria, to Vienna, and didn't have to see Taylor Swift.
wow.
So I'm just saying this for the.
I was sad that we didn't.
No,
see Taylor Swift.
I'm genuinely sad. Like I don't. Like it would have been better than doing nothing.
Wow.
Like
High praise.
But to see a concert, I mean, if you've got seats, like if I didn't have seats, then I would have been ecstatic. Because there's no way on earth I'd want to stand for the 8 hours or so that she does a performance for. But she's doing it right now, right this moment in Wembley. Although she might have finished, I don't know. In fact, no, because she only started like 3 hours ago, so she's probably got a few more to go.
Yeah.
But I like standing, no. But like I would go to any concert that I can sit down at and probably just, not have a bad time.
I mean, I enjoy her music. I'm not a super fan. I enjoy her music. But I think it's such a big event at the moment that to go and see it is just a really cool thing to do. So, yeah, I was sad that we didn't get to see her. But instead, we got to see or spend more time with Moni.
We did, but we also, just before we do that, she hasn't said anything about it. And I'm sure she's probably like not able to because of, the investigation and all that. But
yeah, true.
it would have been nice to have something and maybe say, hey, we're going to look to try and reschedule them if it's possible. Or...
So they showed a recording of one of the previous gigs on Austrian TV.
Yeah.
Which was a nice thing to do. And so as we went through Vienna, there were loads of fans out in the streets singing and whatever. You could see loads of people in Nero's t-shirts.
Yeah.
So there were lots of fans around.
There's literally a live blog right now on the BBC.
Yeah.
Fucking wild.
That's Taylor for you. But yeah, we got to see Moni.
We did.
Thank you, Moni, for driving us around everywhere.
Honestly, she drove us like for about out of the 30 hours that we were there, like 6 of those hours was Moni driving us around.
Yeah.
So huge thank you to Moni.
Yeah.
And we got to see her dog, and we got to
cuddle Yoshi.
We went to like up in the mountains, in like the mountainous area of Austria, which I know is most of Austria. Although I think when you go to Vienna, it's interesting because you see it's a lot flatter.
It's suddenly really flat. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to like the southeast, to like, what was it called again? Graz.
Near Graz.
Near Graz, and then we went to
the chocolate factory.
The chocolate factory. I didn't. I thought it was. Now, Moni, when you hear this, I thought it would be like some kind of just local thing that the school kids get taken to on a school trip.
I thought that as well. It's just like just a chocolate factory little average thing.
And you see like a little. I mean, if anybody has ever been to the Chocolate Museum in Barcelona, I was expecting that, which is one of the worst museums ever.
Or Cadbury World in Birmingham.
Is it? Well, the one in Barcelona, I don't know if it is still anymore, but it was just lots of like models made out of chocolate, and it's like one room you walk around in, and then there's a cafe at the end. It's really bad and not worth. It's not worth a euro. Never mind the 12 or 15 that they charge. It's but no, this was Zotter.
Yes.
which I didn't realize was like one of the top chocolate brands in the world. Like it's super, super, super fair trade. It's like renowned around the world as being one of the best. Like I posted this on Threads, which I'll mention in a minute, but which used to get it kept getting loads and loads and loads of likes because I mentioned Taylor Swift in it. If you want to become popular on Threads and you want lots of likes, just mention Taylor Swift in there.
It didn't work for me.
Oh,
I tried.
It did for me 3 times.
So this chocolate factory is...
People were replying, by the way, just saying like, oh my God, Zotta chocolate is like the best in the world.
Yeah, I mean, we bought enough of it back that luckily
didn't
didn't melt.
It yet. Apart from one.
We have.
Just the one.
Yeah. So you go around and you start with a video, which is hosted by the guy that
Willy
runs
Wonka.
it.
Willy Wonka.
He is basically Willy Wonka. And a very sort of out there Austrian man, but very funny. And then you get given your spoon, and then you go around and they show you, the stages of chocolate. So you can try the cocoa beans and then all the different stages of how they process it. And you have your little spoon, so you can basically just put everything on a spoon and eat everything as you go around. And there is so much, and people are properly going for it, eating as much as possible.
Well, I think we were a little bit hungry when we got there, and then they had like, here are the cocoa beans or whatever, and you were like, oh, I'm going to try that. You're going to try it? I was like, no, I'm going to wait till the proper stuff. And
I mean, the cocoa bean was not very nice.
It was no, and then the next room had melted chocolate, and I was like, oh, here we go, and had a bit, and I've never been so close to vomiting immediately. It was the dry, every single bit of moisture in my mouth just was absorbed into it.
Yeah, it was like very unrefined, unprocessed liquid chocolate.
What did you put in your mouth and you were like, every little bit of moisture has gone in my mouth?
Was it not that?
No, because
was
it was something else. It was something that you had, and I was like, yeah, I have no interest in that.
I don't remember now.
Yeah,
I put so much in my mouth that day.
you did.
A lot of chocolate. I mean, the white chocolate was amazing, which is not proper chocolate. Yeah. There was an Alpine chocolate that was really nice. And then, so they have the different stages, and then you go through and they have all the different flavorings in the next room. So, and then it's basically every single type that you can buy in the shop. So it's kind of just an advert for the shop, really. Yeah. But all the different flavorings and different nuts, different fruits. They had like a whole nougat section that they were making stuff, like popcorn.
Yeah.
There was truffles with like a robot grabbing it for you.
And there was my favorite, which were the balls that had a pistachio in them.
Oh, right at the end.
The Zotta chocolate balls with pistachios in the middle. Oh, is there anything nicer than chocolate-covered pistachios?
I just...
Like, I went and had 3 of those because I was like... I'd paced myself the entire time. I didn't have much.
I just love a chocolate nut.
Good.
So, pistachio or almond, or like anything with marzipan.
Yeah.
I really like. So, yeah, we ended up with quite a few different flavors. We had we got the pistachio one, the almond marzipan, which I can't wait to open. You got a rum
cocoa.
Yeah,
rum cocoa is Moni very, very kindly had given us like a selection of sweets and chocolates when we arrived, and one of them was a tub of rum cocos, which is very famous apparently in Austria and Slovenia and places around there in Europe, maybe Germany as well. I don't know, but we'd left that in the car. So,
and it was a very, very hot day.
It was scorching. It was like in the mid-30s, wasn't it? It was really, really hot. And then I didn't realize. And then when we got home, that evening, because it was actually a long flight, I realized that they'd melted and then just formed and congealed as one big ball, except for some.
Which you've now demolished.
I have demolished, but yeah, it was just like a big chocolate bar. And I had like every 4 or 5 hours, I'd be like, there's one chunk, and oh, that's a nice rum taste to have at 10 a.m. But it's so delicious. Rum cocoa is the nicest. I say the pistachios and balls. I think I like chocolate in balls. In ball form chocolate is probably the best. I love Maltesers as well.
I also love a Malteser.
Yeah. Do you like a Revel? Oh, they're a bit flat, aren't they?
Yeah.
No,
they also chocolate. Had, then outside the factory is an edible zoo, also known as a farm.
Yeah, they called it an edible zoo, and then I realised that, they actually eat the animals in the zoo, which I think was a bit unethical because they did have tigers and lions and giraffes, but I don't...
No, they didn't. They had goats and llamas and rabbits. and lots of berries, and
Turkeys.
the idea being that it's all about sort of eating from the land, and all the stuff they use to make the chocolate is grown there and all that sort of stuff. Well, not the cocoa beans, but everything else. But yeah, so we ate a lot, and it was very nice. And
Very
we
hot.
had a lovely time.
It was
So
brilliant.
thank you, Monty, for hosting us.
Honestly, I would have gone there just for the zoo, and in the end, we did. But like, I would have booked a
I mean,
holiday
the
there.
chocolate factory.
Sorry, the chocolate factory. Yeah, no. The zoo was nice. Burnt me a bit. We went to see some bizarre gravestones of old flavors, including wine chocolate. And I was like, that sounds disgusting. But then you tell me that actually does exist.
Does it?
Somebody was telling. Or maybe it was on stream. Actually, they were like,
Mm.
"Oh, wine chocolate is a thing." Sounds revolting.
Yeah, it does sound revolting. Not a fan.
Anyway, so that's
been our travels.
Yeah, that has been us over the last week.
And speaking of travels, we won't have a podcast next week because Might we?
I might edit one.
What, while we're there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
we're at Gamescom next week, so
Yeah.
we'll see if we have the time to do something.
yes, actually, we might. We'll get back on the Friday. No, we won't actually do, because I want to save it for like a big bumper a big Gamescom. What we'll do is we won't do one next week, but we'll have a big bumper Gamescom special. And there'll also be, similar to last year, we'll be putting up YouTube videos of us talking about games that we've played. But they might end up coming out at different times if there are embargoes. And we also, so we'll do that like kind of bumper thing. But we might also have some videos and content that goes up that is like live interviews from the floor with our microphones that we've got.
So that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But yes, so lots of travelling, which we're very lucky to have.
Yes.
And thank you to whoever was paying for my trip.
Mm.
So yeah, but I have at least played some games, or at least I played some games on the flights.
Yeah, Ed arrived in Austria really grumpy. Why did you arrive in Austria so miserable, Ed?
So I stole your Vita, your PlayStation Vita,
Great console.
because So I've never really played it before, and you downloaded on there for me Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
Which was originally a PS1 game, and then they re-released it for the PSP, PlayStation Portable, as the War of the Lions, as a slightly sort of remastered version of it, essentially. And I've never played Final Fantasy Tactics before. It's one of the few Final Fantasy games I haven't played. Actually, there's quite a lot I haven't played. So I've been wanting to play it for a really long time. So I was like, great, I've got these flights. This is the perfect time to get into it. And it's a really tricky game to get into. Really tricky. And the game does not really explain itself very well.
Do you know why?
And so when you're on a flight without any internet and you can't even Google anything, it's really quite frustrating.
Do you know one of the reasons why? Because back in those days, they used to have instruction manuals that were great, and you'd be able to kind of
Well, that's
learn
partly
about
true.
it.
Yeah. And there is a tutorial in the game, but it's not part of the story. So it just throws you straight in. So yeah, if anyone listening doesn't know what it is a sort of grid-based tactics strategy game, but in the world, it's the world of Final Fantasy. I mean, they're all different worlds, but this is the world of Ivalice, whatever it's called, which is the same as 12 is also present in 14.
So if it's in 12, is it set like before or after? Is there any correlation to it?
It's more that it's just the same world and the same races.
Okay.
So, yeah, the stories don't really, I don't think anyway, link up in any way. It is much more political in its story. So it's a sort of medieval fantasy world of warring political factions and countries and whatever. So you have your little army that you build up like you would in, Fire Emblem or something like that. And yeah, you move them around a grid and battle, and it uses the job system from Final Fantasy. And what's cool is that you can mix and match abilities from different jobs once you learn them. Okay. So that's the real sort of character development, basically, is deciding what jobs your characters are going to use and how they balance themselves within your little mini army. And you then level them up and learn new abilities and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool. it has a really cool style, and I don't know if it was in the original, but this version has like FMV cutscenes, but they're all like hand drawn, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Really well done. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. It's taken me a long time to get into it because it just doesn't explain itself very well, to the point where certain abilities that you learn through the jobs, it turns out there are multiple menus for the different abilities, which I had not realized. So I had all these points and I was like, what do I spend them on? So all these little things are just hidden away in menus and stuff that it just doesn't explain to you. So I would have preferred a little bit more hand holding to explain itself. And it is also showing its age. So there have been rumors. Part of the reason I wanted to play it is that there are rumors around that Square Enix is working on a remake of it, or maybe just a new Final Fantasy Tactics game. Like, I don't really know, but there were just rumors floating around for quite some time, to be honest. And I can see why, because it is definitely showing its age.
Yeah.
I think having played more recent games like Fire Emblem, Triangle Strategy, stuff like that, this feels quite dated.
Do you finish Triangle Strategy?
No. I only played it for a few hours.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
I never played it. I think I bought it.
You did, because I wanted to play it, and I stole it.
And then, well, I'm glad you got your use out of it.
It's worth playing. It genuinely is worth playing.
Yeah.
Like, it was really good what I played. This Final Fantasy Tactics feels dated and old. So, and that also increases the difficulty when it doesn't need to be. So it's things like you've got your grid that is shown from an isometric view, but when you use the stick to turn the camera, you can only view it from the four corners. So you can't like freely move the camera around, or you can change the height, but only by one option. So you can't get like a proper top-down view of everything. And that means it's sometimes quite easy to miss certain squares that you could move to, because there are also trees and different elevations and stuff. And it's really hard to see and move around. So it's really slow as well, like picking through menus to choose everything. And the AI is also terrible. So the AI of enemy characters is annoyingly quite good in that they will just demolish you if you make one wrong move, and then you have to like redo the entire battle.
Because you said there's permadeath.
There is permadeath, and you can buy new characters if they die, and you do get quite a bit of gil, to be fair. But like, I get attached. I don't want them to die, so I want to get through without anyone dying. And then you have to literally exit the game, reload it, and
Just let them die.
Just takes ages.
Let them die.
No, it costs too much. So that's annoying. And then you get certain characters in your team who are AI controlled for story reasons, but they are terrible and will just walk straight into danger and die immediately. And you're like, great, thanks for that. And then you waste half your turns reviving them. And it's just irritating, because also the random battles you can't use the computer controlled characters in, which means that they don't level up as much. They only level up in the story missions. And I'm having to do a lot of grinding to level up my characters. So like the story characters are now really behind and just instantly die.
Yeah.
So there are just little quality of life things that I think other strategy games or tactics games have done much better. But this is like fan favorite sort of, cult classic Final Fantasy game that I'm like, I really want to get into it. I think I've played it for like 7 hours now in total. And I feel like I've done maybe 4 story missions in that time.
I don't think there are that many though, are there?
Well, I hope not. Because most of my time has just been spent grinding and going through menus.
Okay.
So I don't feel like I'm selling it to you specifically, because I don't think you'd enjoy that. But
I like a tactical game.
like, it is good. And I think once you start unlocking more jobs and mixing and matching, the possibilities are huge. And I think even things like 14, when they're looking at different jobs to bring in, they'll be looking at tactics, because that has a really wide selection of jobs. So it's been quite iconic, I think, for the rest of the series, and that's part of the reason I wanted to play it. Yeah. It's also just nice playing on a Vita. I've never really played one before, and it does feel really nice. It's really light, especially compared to a Switch or a Steam Deck.
It is light, but it feels a bit chunkier than the PSP. But I really like my Vita, and
it's really nice.
I played it a lot when I got it originally, but yeah, it feels like a completely, like, that is a handheld. Yeah. Like a pocket version. You can put that in your pocket.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Steam Deck, you need a like you need a big rucksack to put that in.
Exactly.
Switch, you can maybe put it on an inside pocket if you've got a small case. Like I've got a really thin case for mine, which is great, and I have put it in my inside pocket before. But yes, it's the Vita is a real handheld.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying playing on that at least. So I will carry on with it for a bit.
Yeah.
I'll probably take it to Gamescom.
Yeah, I'm going to take
Play it on
my
the train.
Steam Deck, I think.
Nice. So yeah, so that's what I've been playing in my spare time when I've not been away. I've played a couple of other bits, but I'll talk about that in the news.
Brilliant. I mean, the only one game I've really been playing that's not Dawn Trail. Oh, by the way, a little spoiler that I have been playing a lot more of it, and it's getting better and better.
Yeah.
And it's all gone a bit uncanny valley at the moment, which I'm really enjoying, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the results are. Like, there's a lot of mystery in it now.
Yeah.
And a lot of weird things that are said, and now I'm trying to, in my head, I'm trying to work out why it's been said, because I've turned into you a little bit. Whereas before, whenever there was something that was a bit of a puzzle, I'd be like, oh, I'll just go along with it and be like completely stumped or completely, surprised when it happens. But now I'm like, is it this? Is it this? Is this the answer? Challenging everything.
I've been playing it as well, and just before I left, I was ahead of you slightly.
Yeah.
But now you've jumped ahead of me while I've been away. So I'm at a fairly similar point, but the story has massively changed.
Yeah.
And there is loads of Final Fantasy IX references.
I don't get.
It's got really good. So
Yes.
yeah, Dawn Trail is very good.
I'm also in the second and I think final hub area, so if anybody's played it, they know, and it looks incredible. The one thing that I find with Final Fantasy, and maybe it's an MMO thing, and I'm sure it probably is, but everything's so wide and big. Like you can't go from one place to another through it as like a little side alley. There are very few kind of side alleys, or there are very few compact areas. Obviously, like the big home areas that feel a bit compact because there are so many people there. But it always just feels like everything's so massive, and it's weirdly built.
That's one thing I actually don't like about 14.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because to me, it feels too open and too expansive, and it doesn't feel curated enough.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree with that. But anyway, yes, we'll talk about Dawn Trail when we both finish it, because I don't think we're probably a couple of weeks away, I think, from finishing it.
Yeah, I wanted to try and finish it before Gamescom, and I'll try and play some this weekend.
Yeah.
But it's also my birthday this weekend.
It is, yes. It's your birthday on Sunday. So we'll let you know what happens then. But
I haven't planned anything, so unless you have, I don't know.
No. But who knows? Yeah, I know. I think we'll finish it soon. I think I'm in the middle of like level 98 quests now, and I've just clicked on something that's like, there's some cutscenes going to be playing in many cutscenes. Make sure you set aside time. So I'm like, okay, some shit is going down, but I will maybe even power through some tonight. I don't know. It depends if I feel really awake.
I mean, I'm tempted, but I should probably go to bed.
Yes, you should. But I have been playing a game that you're very proud of me for playing, I think, which is Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the chibi version. And I love it. I really like it. And it's a great... And I was saying earlier, like, I like a tactics game, but I also love a puzzle game. Like, I really enjoy, like, working out the puzzles. And there have been, like, one or two moments where I've gone, like, this is very obtuse. Is that right?
Probably.
I thought it was abstruse.
Whatever, just carry on.
I'm trying to wind you up. And I was quite happy because I've had like people come in. So Marignetic raided me and she's like, oh, I loved this, but I needed like a guide for a few parts of it because I was just completely stuck. So I was very relieved because I said to myself, okay, I need to play this. Obviously, it's aimed at kids. I mean, just look at it.
No.
Yes. But so I was like, I should be able to do all of these puzzles easily. I should be able to get through it and I'll feel great about it. But there are some I'm like, bloody hell, how? Of course. Well, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of the time later you go, oh my God, of course, it was quite easy to think about it. But it definitely challenges me. And I think I really enjoy it. And I think people on stream, because I'm streaming it, I think people kind of enjoy watching it, but also get incredibly frustrated. Because if you've played it and you know the solution to something, and you can see me spending like 30 minutes trialing different things, it must be freaking infuriating. Especially if it's quite a simple answer, but it might take a little while to get to.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this to you like after you were streaming one day, that I think it's the most cryptic of the Zelda games. And I think a big part of that is because it was made for the Game Boy.
Well,
And so originally.
was it? Oh, Game Boy. Yeah. Then Game Boy Color brought in the
Yeah, exactly.
dungeon. Yeah.
So I think because of that, the puzzles and things are actually quite small, and the world as a whole is quite small, but they want to make it feel expansive. So I think the puzzles are quite simple, but they make it cryptic to make you think more.
And there's a lot of walking around at the start, at least, anyway, like backtracking.
A little bit, yeah. So yeah, things like speaking to the birds to give you a little like cryptic clue about what to do to like get you thinking, when actually it's quite a simple puzzle. So
did they have the telephones in the original?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So because of that, yeah, I think it's all very small scale and intimate, which I really like about it. But they try and make it feel bigger than it actually is. And so, hang on, I was going to say something else. Yes, in terms of the puzzles, I think because you've obviously played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, now going back to this, you can kind of see the two styles of puzzle across the series.
Where you've got Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, and it looks like the new one is Echoes of Wisdom, where there are multiple ways to do something, and you do it the way you want to, or the way your brain is telling you to.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, no, you must do it the way we want.
It's a set puzzle with a set solution,
which
and
I
that's
do
what
like
Zelda
as well.
has always been.
Yeah.
And yeah, I sort of like both. I mean, I grew up on the older games in that old way, and I like that feeling of there's a set way of doing this, and I'm going to work it out. And now I've done it, I feel clever.
That's a you thing.
Yeah, that is a me thing.
That is literally you.
Whereas the later ones, like Tears of the Kingdom, I often feel like there is not a set way of doing it, but an ideal way of doing it. Maybe.
And you get pissed off when I cheese it and end up getting it a lot faster than you do
no,
because
I don't mean
true.
about you.
Oh no,
I mean
I'm not saying it's
about...
a negative thing. I'm just saying that I know that it hurts you a little bit when you see me when you've spent a while trying to work out the puzzle, and then I just stick like 10 trees together and climb that and get to it.
Yeah, and the thing is that on the one hand, that's satisfying that you're like, oh, I outsmarted the game.
Yeah.
But I often found that I solved puzzles by accident more than actually thinking through the logic.
Yeah.
And I like the logical steps of this is cryptic. I need to solve this. I've done it. Now I've got it. As opposed to like, oh, I made a thing and then it miraculously worked and I didn't expect it to. And that's still fun in its own way. But you can see the two different styles of Zelda puzzles now. Yes. Sorry, that was my
I love
history injection.
And I love both of them, and it's going to be interesting because now I've done that, and I think people do enjoy watching it. I'm also like, oh, maybe I should check out some other Zeldas. And I feel that the next Zelda I would play is Wind Waker because I finally need. I'm very excited. I'm about. I think the furthest I've got in is about 6 to 8 hours. Like I've got to the special island. I got to, I don't know which one because I think it's the base. Like you start on your home island, then you
Outset Island.
Okay, well you start on your home island and you go to like the jail island.
Yeah.
And then you go to another island where you're kicking chickens and stuff. And then you go
the main town. Yeah.
Then you go to another one.
Dragon Roost.
That's where I finished Dragon Roost. That's the furthest I've got.
As in you finished the dungeon there?
There's a dungeon? I think I did.
So you met the Rito?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I finished that one.
And then there's a fire dungeon. Because there's the dragon on the top of the mountain.
That does...
The big red dragon.
Definitely ring a bell. Yes. I have done that dungeon.
Do you remember the boss?
Yeah, because it's in like a cavern and it comes in and stuff. And
there's like
100%
the spider thing with the eye, and you have to hook on the dragon's tail and swing along.
Didn't we do it?
I mean, we did. Yeah, we played a bit of it, and I can't remember how far we got.
No,
but I've played it myself a million times. So
I have beat. I think I beat it when we played it as well. But like that's the furthest I've ever got.
Okay.
So I'm going to restart it obviously, but I've got my my Wii U. I just really hope they don't announce a remaster, because then everyone's going to be playing it. I want to be special.
I hope they do announce that, because I will 100% buy it and play again.
Yeah.
Same with Twilight Princess.
It's I just love the style of it, and I love how, like, I'm somebody. It's gonna be weird, but like living in like Spain and stuff, having a blue sky and sun and the sea, Like to me, that makes me calm. Like the second I see a blue sky, I feel instantly happier. And whenever I see the sea and like open water, I find that really relaxing and calm. So Wind Waker, especially with its kind of cutesy graphics as well, is just my
Wind Waker
kind of thing.
is one of my favorites. I think it's for me like Ocarina of Time is still my favorite, mainly for nostalgia. I think Tears of the Kingdom is my second favorite.
Wow.
Yeah,
Because you hated that when
I
I
know,
got you it.
and then I now absolutely adore it. I think
Is it
that's
'cause
my
I bought
second
you it?
favorite. No, it's because I just liked it. And then I think Wind Waker might be my next favorite after that. And in terms of
What about Breath of
gameplay,
the Wild?
oh, well, that's the thing. I sort of put Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom together.
It should be a double pack, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it really should. Wind Waker is gameplay wise, it's not always the best, but I love the storytelling in it, and I love the graphics, and even obviously it was remade on Wii U or remastered, but even the original GameCube version still looks incredible. And it's just I mean, I guess you didn't have a GameCube, so you maybe
Yes, I did.
did you?
Yeah, I had a GameCube. I finished Crystal Chronicles, remember?
Oh yeah, but I don't know
I
if
didn't
you
play
remember.
I did play Wind Waker.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember much of like the furore around it.
Oh, yeah,
Because
about the colours.
about the graphics,
Yeah.
because Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask were seen as adult because they were very dark. And then when they announced the GameCube, there was this an infamous Space World event that Nintendo put on, and they showed off the GameCube, and they had a battle of Link and Ganondorf, and again it was like Ocarina of Time style, but really adult, but incredible looking graphics, and everyone was like, "I want a Zelda game in that style." So then the proper first Zelda game on the GameCube was Wind Waker, and everyone called it Zelda because of the cell shading, and said, "This is a kid's game. I'm not interested."
It's a
And that's
Nintendo
why-
console. It's for kids. They should
Well, I
just
know,
accept
but people
that.
didn't accept that at the
I'm
time.
joking.
And that's why it's one of the worst selling Zelda games, because
But it's still one of most people's favourite now, isn't it?
well, people who did play it realized how good it is,
yeah.
and it's not about being childish; it's about being expressive, and the graphics are just it's so artistic, and the way you see the wind moving in the sky and all those sorts of things. Also, it has an incredible soundtrack. It's one of the best scores in all Zelda
Yeah, I do
games.
like it.
And that's why then afterwards they relented and said, "Fine, we'll give you Twilight Princess," which was basically the game that that the Space World demo would have been. I think Twilight Princess has a really odd style to it. The faces just look weird to me, and it's trying to recreate Ocarina of Time. Now it's still very good because it's still a very good Zelda game, but it's I don't think it's anywhere near as good as Wind Waker.
I'm good because I don't have it.
That ended up selling like 10 times what Wind Waker did.
Did they do an HD version?
Yes,
And it's the one on Wii U as
that's
well.
also from Wii U. Yeah,
It's the one that's really expensive.
Yep.
And I'm really pissed off because I didn't buy it before they shut down the store. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure it's in CEX somewhere.
Oh, it'll be in CX for like 120 quid.
No, it's like 60.
I thought it was a lot more. I should have seen it like
it's that high.
90 plus. What's it called again?
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess.
But yeah, that was until Breath of the Wild. Twilight Princess was the top-selling Zelda game.
Oh, you're right. Oh, it is 60.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I will. What was the one that was really expensive?
I mean, there are loads of very expensive games
Yeah,
in CEX.
that is true. Oh, right. Well, that was.
So how far through Link's Awakening are you? Just to gauge how long you've got left.
Got 5 of the 8
Okay.
items. I've just done the water dungeon. Well, I say water, like the fish dungeon.
Yeah.
And I've unlocked a grappling hook,
Nice.
which was really
the hook
cool.
shot.
The hook shot, which you told me was like it's a staple in all of them, and I'm like, I don't. It's not in the new ones.
It's
but
not
old
in the
ones.
new ones. That's the thing.
Maybe they're saving that for the next.
Yeah, the hook shot is like just. I think it was first in A Link to the Past. I don't think it was in the original.
To be honest,
I might be wrong.
a hook shot
but-
feels very much like an ability for something that has that kind of puzzle style. Like hook shot is like you go there and it's. I know it just feels like something that is part of a puzzle solving skill that is very kind of specific and very kind of based on a grid.
Well, that was the interesting thing when they put the hookshot in Ocarina of Time, because it was 3D. And so the way you use it is that you aim in first person
Yeah.
and aim around everywhere, but you can only hookshot onto specific things.
I wonder, actually, a hookshot might, because I was thinking, oh, a hookshot's not going to work in like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, because you could probably just cheese everything. But like when you go into a dungeon or go into a shrine, the walls and stuff you're never able to really interact with anyway. So they'd just be like, you can't hookshot against the walls in a shrine. And then it might actually.
That's the thing.
work.
Like it's you can use it in combat, but it's very much a puzzle item.
Yeah.
And for that reason, it's the old school Zelda style of you get the item and you use it in the dungeons, whatever. But with the open ones, more recent ones, I don't quite know how it would have to be like a set ability, like your bombs or whatever.
Yeah.
It would have to be one of those that you get from the start.
And you can only use it once initially, but then maybe you can upgrade it to use it twice before there's a cooldown. Or
Well, you get, so in, spoiler, Ocarina of Time, you get the hook shot,
okay.
and then later on you get the long shot, which basically just has more length to it, so you can aim further away.
Well, maybe one day I will play Ocarina, but I don't think so because it looks terrible.
How rude.
Although I might play it on my 3DS. So that's what we've been playing, and we'll also be talking a little bit in the news about what more you've been playing, because it's going to probably be quite a long podcast today, despite recording it so late.
Oh, well.
Go on then.
Well, I'll start at the end with Glinsky.
This is what people have been playing.
This is what everyone else has been playing. I'll start with Glinsky because it was an extra one. I finished Yakuza Like a Dragon last night, and the ending really clicked with what I loved about this game, which is also what sets it apart from most other RPGs. Whilst you have a lot of the staple elements and characteristics of the genre, it's more cemented in realism. You're not taking down a god or some mythical beast. At its core, it's about family, corruption, and one man's refusal to stop loving and trusting those around him. Ichiban Kazuga has become one of my favourite characters in all of gaming, and I recommend the game to any fans of RPGs, especially those who miss turn or menu-based combat. I really need to play it.
It's brilliant so far what I've played. In fact, I'll be taking my Steam Deck, and I actually went through and deleted loads of games that I've got installed on my Steam Deck, and that I saw that and I was like, oh, I need to go back to it because I am quite far into it, or I say far, I'm chapter, I don't know, I have no idea, but I'm about 16 hours in or something. Who was that again? Sorry, Glinsky. Glinsky also made a comment in the games channel today. Who just went, I have learnt that you cannot pause Elden Ring whilst you go to grab a drink.
No.
So I think he might have lost quite a few.
Oh dear.
Runes.
Yeah. That is the annoying thing with Souls games, is that you can't pause them.
However,
I
believe you can pause. So here you go, Glinsky. You can pause it. I think it's if you go into the item menu, your inventory, and then you look up the meaning of something. There's something like if you go and look at the extra description of an item, it pauses the game.
Oh.
There's a little trick there.
Yeah, because I've always wanted a photo mode, but they won't do that because that means pausing. The reason you can't pause is because of invasions, because it's always online.
What about if a photo mode didn't pause it?
I mean, maybe not, but that would be tricky to code.
I don't know. When I went into the capital, I was like, I need a photo of this gorgeous view.
Yeah. Mr. Whipple says, well, Minecraft, the usual. Enjoying the 1.21 update, just mucking about building with wood in the nether while fire tick is still on. None of that means anything to me.
I think that means that fire spreads, maybe.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
Yeah, although I think it's turned. I think in the nether, yes, because in the nether regions, in Minecraft, which is a different world, like the Dark World, then I think it is on. But I don't think it is in our. No, it's not in the main world. But anyway, yeah, I've got a Minecraft server. We just had a couple of new people join, and including I've just had a message while we're recording this podcast that we're going to get Shret on there as well, who is a Minecraft wizard. What's a lady wizard called?
Witch.
A witch. I won't say that. It's a Minecraft witch.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really good. I will go back to it. Like I had a real urge, and then got the server, and then played it, and then loads of other games took my attention first. Because Minecraft was great when I was streaming every single day, because it's like an endless sandbox. So when I was streaming every day, I'm like, oh, I can, like, every time I play it, I can go and do something different and enjoy it like that. But to take the time out of playing other games that I really want to play and finish, to play something that's like as open as Minecraft, it's not a priority at the moment, but it's great, and I'm going to keep that server up for as long as if we go like 6 months and nobody uses it, then I will stop paying the $30 or whatever I end up paying a month for it. So, but as long as people are happy with that, I will. It's good. It's good as Minecraft, but it's not your thing.
No, not for me. Clasco says, at the weekend I started playing Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. It's quite easy, and that's what I needed. I find collecting gems quite satisfying. Sometimes I like an easy game.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the HD version. Because I played a bit of that when it came out and was nicely surprised. Although the flying bits are still a piss take, we'll say.
Now, speaking of things that are my thing, I'm going to end with Helios, who has written a very long post.
No, you won't, because there's also another one further down.
Oh, is there?
Because I gave permission for Glinsky to... Oh, no, so is that the Glinsky one?
I literally read that.
Sorry,
Clearly you weren't listening.
No, I did, but I forgot who it was that added it.
I started at the end. So we've got a nice long one here from Helios, who has finally finished Final Fantasy VIII.
And can we just say that Helios gave us a really good one about the... What was that game last time that we had a really good chat about? The one that was released from Capcom. Is it Capcom?
Oh, Piano 3.
Yes.
Piano 4. 3.
6. 5.
Whatever the number was. Piano. Something.
Yeah. Piano,
no, thank you for the long
ships.
entries. It's always welcome.
I bet it is.
I just... this is going to pain me to read. Finally
you disagree.
Final Fantasy VIII, and I won't ever be playing this game again. Not the HD version,
Piano
not the
3.
remaster, nor the PS1 version. Not until they fully remake it in the style of Final Fantasy VII Remake. If I was sick of playing the menus game by disc 2, I was fucking fed up by disc 4.
Oh, well, maybe you'll don't play tactics then if you don't like menus.
No,
It's Piano 3, by the way. Yeah,
it was 3. So we've got bullet points, which I like. I like structure, so thank you for that. What I liked, the music. It's some of the best in this entire. Do you mind putting your foot on me?
I'm just stretching my leg.
The music. It's some of the best in this entire series. Agree, absolutely.
Okay, we'll start.
All that at the start.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll start with an agreement.
The story, while batshit and crazy, it's exactly what I want and expect from Final Fantasy, or rather any JRPG for that matter. Agreed. Character designs, summons, bosses and monster designs, car, train, ship designs, architecture, world design. Really enjoyed this alternate 90s setting this game takes place in. I wish they'd revisit it in another title, not necessarily a sequel, just like how they revisit Ivalice in Tactics, Vagrant Story, and Final Fantasy 12.
Oh, Vagrant Story as well.
Also that, yeah. Also agreed. I love the setting of 8. I would also say I would love a remake of 8. It wouldn't... I'd want 6 first, but I would also take an 8 remake for sure.
Would they, though?
Would they do it?
Yeah.
No. They've talked about it, but they basically have lost the original files.
No, but like a remake. I mean,
like from the ground up.
I don't think they're going to do that for any games.
No, I think 7's burned them too much,
Yeah.
if I'm honest. What I disliked, the junction system. It takes the place of a job or class system, yet it doesn't act like that. It's a key component in the gameplay loop that you have to attend to constantly. You cannot just set it and forget it, because the game constantly locks you out of certain characters, which forces you to juggle GFs, magics, junctions, abilities around. Also, the magic system. The idea of having more magic stock making you stronger sounds fine, but then using said magic weakens you is very counterproductive. Now, you haven't played 8, have you?
I played a little bit, but I can't remember it.
So this will mean nothing to you. So I will try and briefly just explain it, just to give some context to
Tell the listeners.
To why Helios doesn't like it. So all the Final Fantasy games have their own weird little system of
Sphere
character
grid
customization.
in 10, love it.
Yeah, exactly. So the equivalent in 8 is the junction system. So you have your characters, so Squall, Rinoa, etc., Zell, and you then have your GFs or Guardian Forces, which are basically the summons. So Ifrit, Shiva, Odin, all the others. And so what you do is you essentially assign those Guardian Forces to your character, and that unlocks certain attributes. And then what you do is you junction magic to those attributes to boost the stats. So to give a completely made up example, maybe Ifrit has the attack attribute. So if you assign Ifrit to Squall, that allows you to then junction magic to Squall's attack. And if you then junction, say, fire magic, he'll start doing fire damage with his attack or whatever else.
You've lost me, but yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and the more magic, you don't have a like MP that you replenish. You have a stock of spells that's literally up to 99. And the more you have, when you junction that, you
Yeah.
get a bigger effect to the attribute. However, if you then use that magic in battle, you're lowering your stock, so you're sort of lowering the impact of that boost. So it's sort of like you want to keep your magic rather than use it, even though it's powerful to use it in battle, which, yeah, is a bit odd. I appreciate that. The reason I really like the junction system
Because you cheesed it.
is because you can break it.
Yeah.
And I like a system where when you pay attention and sort of, not to say people don't, but
You're saying that Helios wasn't
no, I'm
paying
not saying that,
attention?
but I'm just saying like if you pay attention and sort of understand it, it becomes very breakable because you can basically just grind rather than levels, you're grinding for magic. And then at the very beginning, you can grind for like loads and loads and loads of cure magic, put that on your health and get a massive health boost right at the start. And loads of stuff like that you can do to basically break the game and make it easy.
Will that make it, is it a permanent
Well,
thing?
no, because then you'll use that cure magic, so you'll get less of an impact. And then you'll get Cura, and then Curaga, and then whatever else. So I like that you can play around with it quite a lot. I appreciate that is controversial. I will agree that there are a lot of places where it splits the party up, but you then have to reassign all of your Guardian Forces every time. And that is annoying. That I admit is something they need to work on if they ever did a remake. But the junction system itself, I personally really like because I like a system you can break. So there we go. I enjoyed my playthrough, at least up to that castle. Maybe it's the nostalgia talking though. There is a weird castle in it later. But I would not recommend the game to anyone. Spending so much time in those grey menus as a core gameplay mechanic is just not fun, especially since all the other Final Fantasy games solve the job system better. In Helios's humble opinion. I do have to reiterate that the game is ripe for a full remake, though. It's not that comprehensive, and it would fit in a single release, unlike 7 Remake. They would obviously redesign the whole job magic system. I don't think they would. But Squall and Zell's Limit Break would work perfectly with the new gameplay style, because they're a bit more actiony. They would need to add some side quests and develop some of the relationships a bit better. You only ever get close to Quistis and Renoa. Quistis is the hot teacher, because of course. But otherwise, they have a complete package on their hands. I don't want them to touch the junction system. I think update the menu system and make that easier for sure. I like the junction system, but
well, it's
have
a
that
controversial
world,
opinion. I know people disagree with you,
but
and people agree.
It's a controversial game, and I think the people who love 8, someone like Ben Starr, for instance, are like real advocates for it and are like, it's incredible, it's the best one. But people that don't like it really hate it. So it's very much a controversial.
I love what I played of it. I think I played up until I think I cleared the first disc, and then my save file broke because I might have been using a cheat cartridge.
Sure.
All the cheat CDs.
I think part of the thing is that 7 was just so big and so successful that they decided, fuck it, let's go a bit weird for the next one. And I love the story it's a romance, it's a love story ultimately, which is why you've got Squall and Renoa on the cover. And it's kind of cheesy, but it's a really nice story. But they just went really off-piste with the gameplay. And I think that's why with 9, they then made 9 a sort of culmination of 1 to 6 as going back to the originals. But then people either love 9 because of that, or they don't like it and find it boring because they think it's not original enough. So look, everyone has their favorites. And that's what's great about Final Fantasy, is that they're all very different. And people love them for different reasons and also dislike them for different reasons.
It's weird because I was a bit of a shit gamer as a kid. Like I loved it, but
just as a kid.
But like the way I act with games as a kid, which I play on a bit now, but like, so I played it just before Final Fantasy VIII came out. I started gaming and got my PlayStation 1 just before Final Fantasy VIII came out, and I'd got a few games for Christmas and stuff, and then I saw that Final Fantasy VIII was coming out, and it's amazing, and the last one was a 10 out of 10. So the next one, and then that was reviewed, and obviously the official UK PlayStation magazine, that's where I got it from, and that got a 10. And I was like, right, I'm getting that. But I never went and played 7, and the reason I didn't play 7 was it was like a year or two old at the time, and in my head I'm like, well, it's out of date. You know, 8's coming out, I'm going to play that because that's the new one. That's going to be the fresh. That's going to be the great one.
You had FIFA in your mind, didn't you?
I did play every single FIFA.
And that's the thing, like that I appreciate.
Oh, but like,
you want the most
that
recent
kind
one,
of thing. Yeah.
because you're always thinking whatever's latest is going to be the best one.
Yeah.
But that's not how Final Fantasy works. Like they're all just different stories.
In different styles. Like now,
Yeah.
6 still holds up, I imagine. 9 does
6
as well.
is incredible.
Yeah, like after Dawn Trail, my off-stream game is probably going to be 9 because I really want to play it.
Yes, please. Right, let's whip through some news, shall we?
Yeah, should we quickly go and talk about the games that are coming up?
Yes.
Then we can also cover a few things that you might have spoken about, I think. Are there any in there? No.
Well, there's one in there at the very end that I was going to bring up, but you know.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So we've got a list on the screen in front of us of some games coming up between now and October, and there are a lot of really good games coming out
There
that
are
you definitely need to know about.
generally for in the space of 2 months. I want to play most of those.
Yeah, same. So the first one, which comes out on the 20th of August, which is next week, is Black Myth Wukong, which is a new, I'm going to say action RPG, because the developers have specifically said it's not a Souls-like, but there are a lot of Souls elements in it. I have already played it for preview, which you can go and read on Eurogamer. I really enjoyed it. You've also played it, yes.
Yeah,
We played it at Gamescom last
and
year.
we've got a video that's up and
Also
has
true.
lots of views.
It's an action RPG. You're playing as it's based on Journey to the West, which is a classic Chinese novel. You're playing as this monkey character. It's a combat game. It's very difficult, so it's sort of Soulsy, but they're saying it's not. It looks great. It's a bit controversial because the studio have been accused of a lot of misogyny and things like that, which is not great. But there's also a lot of sort of Chinese lost in culture type things, I think, and the studio's not been very. I'm not excusing it, but they haven't really addressed it, so it's a bit up in the air. It's a bit of an awkward thing. But the game itself looks incredible.
Do you think it'll be controversy when it comes out?
Probably.
Don't go on Twitter.
No, just don't go on Twitter.
That's genuinely. I was going to bring it up at the start, but we ended up talking about so much other stuff as well. But the last 5 days, 6 days, nearly a week now, I've deleted Twitter from my phone and rarely go on it, even at work, even when I'm like at my PC, just when I need to with work, and gone to Threads, and oh my god, it's so much calmer. It is so much more peaceful. We're going to talk about a game that you've played, but and you have quite a strong opinion on something, but the comments are on the website are actually like really pleasant. They agree with you, and then on Twitter, it's like, well, they didn't play the game. Why didn't they play the game? And I'm like, if you'd actually like, people on Twitter can't read, because if they'd read your article, they'd have seen that you had played the game.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
We will. Anyway, so if you want to improve your mental health, get off Twitter. I couldn't recommend it enough.
Yeah. So yeah, Black Myth Wukong, basically it is the most wishlisted game on Steam right now. So it's gonna be massive. And I plan on streaming it now that I've finished Dark Souls 1.
Perfect.
So if you want to see what it's about, then come to my stream in a couple of weeks. Next up on the 30th of August is Star Wars Outlaws.
I will be playing that.
Which is, are you gonna stream it? Or are you just gonna play it?
No, I don't think I will stream it.
Okay.
Unless I'm like streaming the day it comes out and I fancy just getting up into the hype and playing it a bit on there. Yeah. But I won't, it will just be like a one-off.
Yeah. So it's a big open world Star Wars game from Ubisoft. It's had a bit of a mixed opinion online.
Really?
Some people are saying that it's really fun and really like the open world elements. Some people are saying that it's just a bit like every other sort of open world game, but with Star Wars in it.
I mean, that's fine. I love an Assassin's Creed with Star Wars, yeah.
But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes down.
And also the director or whoever now will go on to The Division 3.
Which, yeah, you want, of course.
Oh.
Then on the 6th of September is potential Game of the Year, Astrobot.
And we've got an interesting announcement to make, haven't we?
Do we?
We're going to be streaming the very first Astrobot after
the VR
Gamescom.
one.
The VR. We're going to bring out the PSVR one for a last hurrah.
Yeah, because you can't play it with VR2, so
No.
you have to use VR1.
So we're going to bring that out, and we'll probably be like the only person that has streamed or played that game in the last like year and a half.
Yeah.
And we'll be playing it. So Astrobot Rescues Mission, drop by, because it's genuinely a brilliant game. I played it and I had the same feeling that I felt when I played a 3D game for the first time. Like it's the jump from 2D to 3D. And then this is like, obviously it's not been culturally that big because it isn't, but it's like the equivalent of, I think, to VR what Super Mario 64 was.
Yeah.
Like it's that version, but the VR version of it. It's amazing.
Well, we're going to play that. So if you've got a PS5, then you will have got the Astrobot packing game. So you'll know what Astrobot's
Astro's
about,
Playroom.
which is the only one I've played. But it's a lot of fun. This is now a new version, but it's as a full, like, massive game.
Apparently the controls
I'm
is very similar.
really excited to play it. I genuinely think it could be one of the best of the year. So keep an eye out for that. That is the 6th of September. There's also a Warhammer game if you're into that, which a lot of people are into.
Shit, yeah.
And then announced today, which was going to be one of my news stories, is the Plucky Squire, which you got to see at Gamescom last year, and I still haven't seen in an event or anything, but I am desperate to play this game. It's coming out on the 17th of September, and it's also going to be day one on PS Plus. So if you've got that, you can play it.
And we are, so I got to see it, and I really loved it. Like, it was the guy that was playing it, because it was a little presentation in like a tiny corner of their booth. There were 2 of us, I think. And the guy that was showing it, I've mentioned it on the previous podcast, but he was the guy is it like the only English designer of Pokemon games in like Sword and Shield?
So he used to be like an artist for the Pokemon Company and would design Pokemon, which is mainly done by Japanese artists. And I think, he was the only English speaking. And
I'm gutted that I only found out that after, because I was like, I was literally in a tiny corner with him showing me Plucky Squire, like me and another guy from a blog. And afterwards I was like, didn't realize who he was.
Yeah. So he left Pokemon and started his own studio, and this is the game. It is a sort of Zelda-y adventure, top down in a storybook. However, you can then pop out of the storybook into the 3D world of this kid's bedroom around the storybook, and it all interacts.
Breaks the fourth wall very well, and it's very aware of itself. Like I've mentioned this before. I mentioned this on the video, which you can go and check if you do want to find out more about it, because I did talk about it on our Gamescom special last year. If you just type in Biggest Bennis on YouTube, Biggest Bennis Plucky Squire, there's us talking about it with gameplay that hadn't been released. It was like some footage that they gave to me. I just remember there's one bit where I think it's like the main character, Plucky, or I don't know, it's Jot. Asks his side character, asks one of the side characters, or his sidekick, because obviously, like, he's the lead, he's like the equivalent of, the Squall or the equivalent of Cloud, and then you have like the side, what are they called, like secondary characters.
Yeah.
And one of the secondary characters, I think he asked the secondary character about their, like, what they're doing or about their backstory, and the secondary character goes, "Oh, you don't need to know. I'm just a secondary character." And I think the secondary character is obviously like, I'm just a secondary character. Nothing I do really matters. And it kind of addresses her feeling of like being a bit low and sad. And it's just really, I feel like the story of this is going to be surprisingly good for people. I think people are going to go there being like, oh, this is really cute. And the way that everything like pops out and they have different styles in the game, it's like that's going to take it. But also I think the story is really fun.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a let's play of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the way that Thank Goodness You're Here has just taken over my YouTube channel. Like, generally it's the most views I've ever had on any video in the entire 8 years or whatever I've had a YouTube channel, and 9 years. I think we'll do the same with Plucky Squire, because it's that kind of really cute game. It's definitely giving me Link's Awakening.
Yeah, 100%. Now that you've played
now
that,
I played
it,
I'm like, oh yeah, it is that kind of puzzle. But there are lots, but like where Link's Awakening is very much just one style, and you're doing certain puzzles that way. There's a lot more depth, I think, to the puzzles in this. Like there might be one where it's a puzzle where you have to move some text around, but also then you have to pop out and find that texting in another part in the 3D world. It's
going to be a Game of the Year contender. So
100%. And I think it's quite short as well. Well, I asked them. That was one of my exclusive questions.
Nice.
He told me it was about 4 to 5 hours.
Nice.
4 to 5, not 45.
Yeah. So that's on the 17th of September. Dead Rising Remaster is on the 19th of September, if that's of interest.
No.
What is not on this list that we've got in front of us is then Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which is the 26th of September.
Yes.
So I'm very excited to play that.
That's getting added to my stream list.
Yep. There we go.
I'm turning into a Nintendo fan. I always been, but...
The 8th of October is Silent Hill 2, which is going to be interesting to see how that goes down.
Well put.
with fans.
Yeah.
Then on the 11th of October is Metaphor Refantatio.
Which I will be streaming from Gamescom. Let me just double check the date because I did put it up on here, but I'm going to be streaming it on Thursday, the 22nd of August, 1:30 till 3 p.m. UK time. So it's only for 90 minutes, but also the VOD will be saved. So if you miss it, just go and watch the VOD if you want, if you're interested.
There we go.
I'll export it to YouTube as well.
That is going to be massive.
It looks phenomenal, and everything I've heard so far about it sounds like it is, and it's just, I'm very excited about it.
Same. 25th of October is the next COD.
Yeah, I'll be
Whatever.
playing that. I love a COD. Did you want to stay on that, or you're breathing in to go on to the next thing already?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the next one. Then the 29th of October is Life is Strange Double Exposure, the next Life is Strange game,
Yes.
which is a bit controversial because it's got the protagonist from the first game, Max.
Yeah,
She's back.
Yes, Max Caulfield.
And it will be interesting to see how they deal with the ending, because I know that the ending of the first game is this massive decision and everyone has their own choice. And it's going to be interesting to see how they then continue that.
I was talking with our friend Emily about this, and we were both agreed that it's like, of course, we're going to save a whole fucking town over a really annoying other person.
So I didn't finish the first Life is Strange because I didn't like it very much.
It's definitely a.
I know what the ending decision is.
It used to be so on the previous podcast that I was on called Click Click Play, which is a great name, with Jordan and Andre. Andre and I, we loved it, but we also used to kind of pretend to love it a bit more just because Jordan hated it so freaking much.
I didn't.
It's a 6 out of 10, I think the original one.
I didn't hate it. I just don't think its presentation is very good, and I think the story is just really annoying twee teen drama.
I loved the first episode. I was hooked, and then my interest kind of waned a little bit. But I think they've improved on every single one, apart from the prequel.
Yeah, I was going to say I then loved True Colors when I played that, and I think it's because I think just the writing and the presentation of it and the music especially was so much better that it just felt more mature to me. So I felt like I could relate to it more.
And
rather
Tell Me
than just
Why
like
was
silly
good.
annoyingness.
I love Tell Me Why as well.
That was also good.
Life is Strange 2. No one ever talks about Life is Strange 2. I feel like that game just. I think they definitely shot themselves in the foot by calling it 2 because it's not a sequel in the slightest. It's a completely, totally
and
different
people
story.
wanted Max and
Yeah.
didn't get it, which is why they've now gone back to it. And now everyone's like, whoa, what are you doing with the story?
Yeah.
So,
Life is Strange 2, I only played a little bit. It seemed a bit more adult, even though it was like a couple of kids. I think it was
It's more
immigrants
political.
from, it's very political. It's also got the streets in it, which is a really cool song. Not I'm thick, but you're thick, but don't you know it?
gosh, don't you know it?
Is it thick? You're fit.
Fit.
Not you're thick and you know it.
Wow.
You're fit, but more. It's a different song. But no, I think Life is Strange 2, I'd like to play it at some point again. Like I only played the first 2 episodes, but there's like magic in there that you learn, and it's just a game that I don't think anybody played, which is wild. But this looks like it would be great, and
And then the last one, big game in October, now announced, coming out on the 31st, is Dragon Age Veilguard.
are we gonna play it day one?
No, because we're going to Japan
When?
on the 31st.
It's like, oh god.
So we will miss that. But yeah, that was announced today. I mean, it leaked beforehand, but
Did it?
Yeah. Early today, because they said we're announcing it tomorrow, so then everyone went hunting and then found the release date before they announced it. But yes, that is coming out on the 31st of October. So I know a lot of people are going to be very excited about that, and I will absolutely play it. I'm not like super fan of Dragon Age, but I'm very intrigued to see how this is.
When is 2 Point Museum coming out?
Why don't we hold that thought? Because I need a wee.
Okay. Let's pause rather than just have me wasting time. He's taken the piss and he's back.
That is true. So you asked, when is 2 Point Museum coming out? What could that possibly be?
I think it's a 2 Point game.
Yeah. So they it's been announced this week that the game exists. They haven't said a release date yet, so we don't know.
What if somebody wants to watch somebody play it?
Well, the game is at Gamescom. Now, I got to play it last week ahead of
That's
Gamescom.
the wrong answer, Ed.
But if you would like to watch a certain other someone play it at Gamescom, you can.
And you got to get up early for this one if you do want to watch it live. It's going to be from 9 a.m. UK time, which is 4 a.m. Eastern. So get the VOD. 9 a.m. On the Friday. So that'll be Friday, the 23rd of August, 9 a.m. till 10:30. So another 90-minute sesh in the UK time.
You'll actually get longer with it than I will. Or that I did.
Good.
I had about 45 minutes with it. So this is the next game from 2 Point Studios. So you will already know of 2 Point Hospital and 2 Point Campus. This is 2 Point Museum, which, funnily enough, is about running a museum. But obviously, it's a 2 Point game. It's not that simple. So it's a management game.
It is simple, but it's not that straightforward.
Yeah. So it's a management game, and you have to design your own museum. And what's cool? Well, there are a few things that are new about it and different about it and cool. The first is in terms of building, you don't build rooms.
Oh.
So, well, there are some rooms, but for instance, like Campus, it's like, right, you've got to have your lecture rooms and your library, and everything is in rooms. And with this, you can make partition walls, but otherwise it's just sort of free space, and you can design whatever you want, which is very cool. And there are lots of new walls and floors and all that sort of stuff.
Themed areas?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do all of that. The second thing is how you acquire things to put in your museum.
Well, being British, do you
steal
them?
Well, sort of. You have to excavate them. So every museum has a helipad, and you have your experts that you hire as part of your staff, and they will look after the exhibits in your museum, make sure that they don't get dusty, damaged, all of that. But they also can be sent on expeditions, and you then have a world map, and you can select places on the world map to go and investigate, and then send them off on the helicopter.
Is it a real world, or is it a...
No, it's made up.
Okay.
And then they come back, and you get this, like... I don't want to say too much because you're going to play it, but you get this big wooden crate that sort of bounces.
It's good, because then I know when I go in, I know what I'm doing. Otherwise, because to me, 90 minutes is 90 minutes of me working out what the hell to do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you've played 2 Point Campus, so the controls and everything and the visuals exactly the same.
I really love
you'll
these
jump
games.
straight in, and it does teach you the controls as well at the start. So your experts come back with a big crate which like bounces open and gives you some exhibit to put in your museum. So it's almost like a sort of fossil gacha machine, basically.
I like that.
It's sort of randomized. And that is how you acquire things for your museum. And there are obviously going to be different styles of museum. They've only shown one so far, which is the prehistory. So obviously lots of dinosaur bones. A bit like Animal Crossing, you don't get an entire dinosaur at once. So you get different parts, and then you have to put it together.
Do people still visit when there's a bit of a dinosaur?
Yeah. They'll look at it. But you have to sort of put it together. And you also get what's the equivalent of like a stamp collection to get the entire collection of things, which again feels quite Animal Crossing to me. Now, the thing is that when people come back from expeditions, things can go wrong. So it might be that, because this is a 2 Point game, so think like Night at the Museum with things coming alive and things like that. Like
that.
It's, neither have I actually.
I think we should see it. Sounds good. Maybe we should see it in anticipation of this.
Yeah. Just things can go wrong. So, for instance, one of my guys came back and he was like, he basically came back sick from his expedition. And that's when they're like, oh, you should have a staff room so that they can look after themselves. And he had like muddy footprints all around the museum. I was like, no, that needs to be cleaned. But you can bring back things that come alive. You can come back dead. Like they might not come back at all from their expedition.
Great.
So like weird things can happen. And obviously with it being 2 Point, the exhibits themselves are not that obvious. So yes, there are dinosaurs, but they're not called the obvious dinosaurs. They're called silly names. Or there is a prehistoric computer that is literally a stone computer. Or there's like a fossilized floppy disk. Or one of them is a block of ice with a caveman in it who's been preserved. But if you don't have the right temperature around it, the ice will melt and the caveman will come alive and run havoc in your museum.
That sounds amazing. Did you see that? Did that happen to you?
So that did not happen to me, but it did happen to someone else I know who played it for longer.
Do you want to expose them?
No. So silly things like that can happen. So it's very much like it comes alive, all that kind of stuff.
That's what I love about these games. They're management games, but they're just really fun and bonkers. And
There's
things
a lot of British humour.
And things go wrong, and it doesn't matter because it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other big addition is children, because it's a museum and it's sort of educational. So it's essentially children are just a new visitor type.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways it's quite cute because you now see family groups coming in and they interact with one another.
Yeah.
But also kids will come in and start climbing over exhibits and damaging them if you don't entertain them. So you have to have kids' entertainment areas to educate them and keep them entertained. So you've got to sort of balance different visitor types. Like I said, they haven't said what other museum types there will be. The trailer is out there, and in the trailer it says, or it shows, fish tanks and aquariums. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be an aquarium museum. Also, the key art on the poster, if you look carefully, it has them in there. I won't say, but if you look carefully, you can spot some things. I also interviewed the devs, and I said to them, like, can you say more? And they obviously wouldn't. But I suggested to them what I would love is an art museum where the art comes alive, but also you then get sort of art heists of people coming to like steal famous artworks. And they were like, that's interesting. And I'm like, okay.
So a gallery. I'm trying to think of other ones. I'm thinking, I bet there will be I don't know if this will be a DLC or in the base game because it's a bit different, but like a trip to the future. It's like
that would be very cool.
Obviously, time traveling back is kind of what a museum is, but going into the future. But would that be something so different?
I mean, I can imagine a space one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. There'll be a space one, I think, in the base, but maybe then a futuristic one in, like, aliens in the future. I don't know, something in the future.
So he did say to me that look at previous games for lore, because the idea is that all these games take place in 2 Point County as one place.
Yeah.
So there might be hints in previous games of stuff that could hint. So, for instance, I'm sure wasn't there like a space school?
Well, I'm about to say 2 Point DLC. There has been this is 2 Point Hospital DLC. They've got the speedy recovery. Stitch in Time. So that would be like a time traveling one. There's a creative world one. Fancied. Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm trying to think. Yeah, culture off the grid. I don't know what that would be. A different Bigfoot. What would that be in a? Myths and legends maybe.
Yeah, I mean, even in campus, you've got like the magic school or the spy school, and I'm like, could you have a spy museum? Would that be heists, or could there be a magic school, a magic museum with like magical artifacts coming alive?
Yeah, interesting. In campus, they had DLC that was a medical school, so maybe there is maybe there's some DLC that's like links back to 2 Point Hospital, maybe campus, although I can't see what that might be, or education, but I think that nobody would really go for that one. But yeah, they've got school, space academy. But yeah, I do wonder if space would be, because space at a museum is just a normal thing.
Well, it is, but then so is prehistory, and that you've got a lot of room. I mean, what if because to excavate space would be basically going off on space travel, and then you could bring aliens back and God knows what. They could be really creative. And I think that is a really interesting way of acquiring the artifacts, because there's a lot of potential for weird things to happen and go wrong, which is what you want in this kind of game.
Wonder if they did like, I don't know, an Earth pack where they go to Earth and bring back some real things.
Actual, like Pikmin.
Yeah, Pikmin one. Oh yeah, they should do a collaboration with, go do a collaboration with Dredge. Because they seem to be doing collaboration. Or is it Dave the Diver that does collaborations with everything? Yeah. Come back with stuff like that.
So anyway, that is 2 Point Museum. So that was announced this week. If you like the previous 2 Point games, you will adore this. It feels like there are new layers of things in terms of creation and management, which is cool. But also I just think the setup has a lot of potential for humor and things. So That is going to be very, very, very fun.
And then in a few months' time, we'll start doing the tradition of trying to guess what the next one's going to be.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So another thing that I've played ahead of Gamescom, which is coming out on the 10th of September, is the DLC for Persona 3 called Episode Aigis. And essentially, it's a very quick bit of background. So Persona 3 came out on PS2, and then two new versions of it came out, which are FES or FES, and I can't remember what that stands for, and Persona 3 Portable. And they both had different extras in them. So FES had Episode Aigis, which is essentially an epilogue to the game, and Portable had a female protagonist that you could choose, which gave you different romance options. And earlier this year, we got Persona 3 Reload, which was the remake in the style of Persona 5. But they didn't include any of those extras, and people got really mad.
Of course.
So what they've now said is, fine, we'll do a series of DLC packs, and we'll give you Episode Aigis. Now, they're not doing the female protagonist, they've said. So, sad times for that. But they are doing Episode Aigis, also called The Answer. And it's basically sort of fan-requested. So I got to play it for an hour. I played Persona 3 at the start of the year. I enjoyed it. I think it's good. I still prefer 5. And for me, I just think the formula of Persona's got a bit tired. But Metaphor will change that, I'm sure, because that's the next big game.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
So I got to play an hour of it, and if I'm honest, I wasn't massively impressed. Now, it's more Persona 3, and that's a very good thing.
So you finished Persona 3?
I finished it. I really enjoyed it. This is more of that. Same battle system, all that sort of stuff, which is cool. So I'm very happy to play more of that. What I don't like is the setup. So essentially, it is Groundhog Day, because Persona happens in a calendar. So you go through all the months and you choose what you do in each day and manage your time. This is just one day on repeat, and all the students are stuck inside their dorm, so they can't leave, which means you don't get any of the city exploration, like day-to-day stuff that's going on. And also the protagonist of it is Aigis, who is this like AI robot who, yes, she becomes more human over the course of the game, but like I just never warmed to her. I never really liked her very much. So for me, I don't want to play as her in a game. I don't like that. So what I've played of this, it sort of strips out all the good stuff from Persona 3 and then just gives you like a 30-hour DLC of just this one random dungeon on repeat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not really interested in that, if I'm honest. So, you know, I can sort of see why they've done it, and it's more Persona, and that's cool. But I'm not, like, I mean, I've written about it, and because it's called The Answer, I'm like, well, I didn't really have a question, so what is this answering? Like, for me, Persona 3 was a great package. I didn't need any extra. I don't need an epilogue. It's not giving me answers to questions that remained in the story. Like, I don't need that. So I might play it anyway, just to sort of round off the story, but I don't know. But comments on this are basically people saying, like, actually, it wasn't that great in the first place.
Well, that's
I don't
what
know
they
why
are
they're
on
doing it.
Eurogamer. And then on Twitter,
As you said earlier,
we're talking about Taylor Swift being popular on Threads. You talk about some game that's got like a weeb cult following. They flock to it. And if you dare say anything critical about a game that they've got this rose tinted spectacles of nostalgia of playing when they were, sat at home fapping over anime titties, then those people just come out in their drones when the second you criticize it.
Yeah.
Was it 200 likes? Somebody said like.
Yeah, because they quoted me saying that I didn't warm to Aigis, and they're like, "Oh my god, did you not even play the base game?" I'm like, I literally wrote in the article that I finished it. But I still don't like Aigis. It's personal taste.
Yeah,
I just don't like.
No,
her
but
as
they
a
don't
character.
understand that you might have a different opinion to them.
Shock horror.
Genuinely, it's weird, and I know I'm saying this, but I think Twitter's got worse over the last like week or two.
Oh yeah,
like it's got worse and worse really quickly. And every time you go to Threads, I mean, it's a bit annoying because all the comments tend to be like, "Oh, I've moved over from here. Why is there a massive exodus happening right now?"
Yeah,
and I think it's becoming worse and worse. And I don't know if that's because the US elections are getting a bit closer, so
maybe
the bots and the people are out in force.
And Trump and Musk had their Twitter chat, and I think that's brought in a lot of people.
I moved before that, but that
was all over the news in New York.
Was it? That, like, in a good way or a bad way, or just a
Well, just that it happened, but I mean, clearly they're lying and making shit up.
yeah.
And was it in that where Trump called Kamala Harris a bitch?
No, that was a well, it was a recording of him at a golf club, but it didn't. It sounded a bit like it, but I don't think it was that he said.
Okay.
But apparently he said it many times, and someone was like, "Oh, actually, no, he said it loads of times in private." But
Yeah.
I mean, he is losing it properly, and luckily the polls seem to be showing it. But I think people are now like they want a landslide loss for him, not just a close one, because honestly, you look at him or you hear of him, and it's like, how the hell can anybody like that even get votes? But yeah, it's depressing. But we'll be in Japan when that happens.
We will. So anyway, that's Persona 3, which I also played. So throwing that out there. There's one other news story that I've seen, which I thought might be of interest to you, because I feel like it might be your kind of game.
You're telling me this, and yeah, this is a surprise for me, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you ever play Let's Build a Zoo?
I've got it, but I haven't played it.
Okay, because I think you'd like it.
Are they doing Let's Build a roller coaster?
It's a zoo sort of tycoon management game.
Yeah.
But you splice animals together to like make your own like breeds and species. It's all pixel art. It's all really cute.
Yeah.
So the developers of that are making a new game called Let's Build a Dungeon. And it's a multi-layered management sim where you are running your own game development studio, and that studio is developing an MMO, and you have to design the MMO as well as manage the studio.
That's cool.
And yeah, it just I saw that as a headline. I was like, that sounds like a you kind of game. Because Let's Build a Zoo was really fun. I played that.
I need to play. I think you can play it really. I think it's verified on Steam Decks. That seems like a good game for that.
Yeah. So the MMO could be anything from a creature catching RPG to a cozy farming sim. And you have to fill it with towns, monsters, dungeons, and quests, all tailored to satisfy the virtual player base's demands and expand its audience. But then you also have to run the studio building that game at the same time, which sounds really cool.
When's that out?
I don't think it's... there's an open beta coming soon. Sign-ups are open now.
I will be... Yeah, remind me. I'll sign up for that. That does sound like my thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have a release date, but it's launching for Xbox and Steam. So yeah, that caught my eye as something that might be of interest to you.
Brilliant.
So there we go.
So what do you have planned then? Well, so we've got Gamescom.
So I got my birthday.
Yes, you do have your birthday.
On Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Gamescom next week. So I am playing a lot of things. I'm interviewing some very cool people, which I'm very excited about. But it's going to be a very, very busy 3 and a bit days. And I guess we'll talk about that afterwards when we come back.
Yeah, and I got tickets for opening night live.
Hey.
They sent me an email asking me to if I'd like to co-stream it. And I was like...
Actually, I'm going to be there.
Yeah, they didn't reply to me. I think it was a very much an automated thing.
Yeah, sure.
It's funny when they put like, hey, Vegas Bennis, then the rest of the email's in a different font. You're like...
Yeah, exactly. You see through that.
Yeah. Oh, well, that is... Yeah, it's going to be a very fun week, but we're not going to have the podcast next week. However, there'll be streams going up. Check our threads or Twitter or whatever.
For you, yeah.
What?
You've got streams.
Yeah. You don't.
No.
You'll have Black Myth Wukong when you come back, though, and that's going to be fun.
Yeah, so I'll be streaming on Monday as usual, although I need to pack, so I don't know how long it'll be.
Okay, yes.
But I might just play some Elden Ring for the lols.
Play whatever you want.
Yeah. And then I'll be starting Black Myth the week after.
Nice. Brilliant. Well, that is it for this very long podcast, but you're not getting one next week, so...
Oh, wow. We've gone on a long time.
Yeah.
We have whittled on...
I mean, we spent 30 minutes talking about Taylor Swift and New York.
I think that was me, but yes. Whittering.
No, it balances out. And I'm very much... I think I'm glad I had that little nap earlier, because now I feel really awake.
I'm still pretty tired.
Good. That's actually good for you then.
Yes, I need to sleep.
But yes, I think I will be editing the podcast and then playing some Dawn Trail because I want to see what this next cutscene thing is that's coming up.
We'll enjoy that.
But yes, I'm going to be playing a game on my Steam Deck at Gamescom. I'll be there and back, but I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Ooh.
So I'll tease you with that and I can talk about it. Oh, it's like a couple of weeks away actually. But it's one I didn't expect to like, but I'm liking it. So I will surprise you then.
Nice.
Excellent. So, Ed, where can we find you?
You can find me at ed_nights on Twitch, on Twitter, and on Threads.
Yeah. You posted some stuff there of New York, which you didn't post on Twitter.
I'm going to start using Threads more, I think.
It's just genuinely, and I know people will be like, oh, he's switched over and now I think it's the best thing ever. Like, I keep calm on there. Like, it's just, you go in there and you scroll a bit, and you can scroll a few times, but it's just generally quite pleasant people. And if anybody posts something trolley or a bit of an arsehole opinion or comment, they don't get any likes, and they get completely ratioed, which I remember used to be a little bit, Twitter used to be kind of a little bit like that, a few years ago. So it's good, and I think that's the one that most people are going to, because everyone has an Instagram account. So they link it to that, and there's also like a degree of there's a lack of anonymity on it, whereas in Twitter you can, but because it's attached to your Instagram, then there are people's names, their faces there. So I think people are generally a bit more pleasant, and they act like they would to somebody face to face rather than, behind a avatar.
Yes, an anime avatar.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but yes.
A persona-loving anime avatar.
Yeah. There are still some people on there that are obviously a bit dickish, and there's also some that go a little bit of the other way. Like there was a Harry Potter discussion, which I just had to shake my head at. Obviously, J.K. Rowling, vile, absolutely vile views, but they were saying that anybody that has a Harry Potter tattoo, it's like they don't respect them, or it was something. It was a bit harsher than that, and there's a whole thing about it, and it's like, well, even if, because anybody that was of a legal age to have a Harry Potter tattoo, they should have then been at the age where they could read how awful the stereotypes were in the book, and therefore they are guilty of accepting that kind of stuff. And I was just like,
let's not get into that now.
Luckily,
we've gone on long enough.
Yeah, luckily the comments were just like, give your head a wobble. Anyway, go on Threads. It's
Where
great.
Where can people find you?
Oh, they can find me or Biggest Bennis on Instagram and Threads, which I've got. I don't need the one on that one, so that's another reason why I love it.
Yeah.
You can find me on on Twitch and on just go ahead anywhere. Biggest Bennis, just type that in. And also, Swapping Joysticks doesn't have a Threads because it doesn't have an Instagram account with that name, and Swap Joysticks and Swapping Joysticks have already been taken. So we'll find something else. Anyway, yeah, go and follow Swapping Joysticks on Twitter. Go to swappingjoysticks.com if you want access to all of our previous podcasts. And yeah, go to youtube.com/biggestbennis if you want to go and see some of our previous. That's where we put all of our video versions on. Go and check out the Thank Goodness You're Here that we did, which does have Matt Berry in it. We made a few comments like, it sounds like Matt Berry. It was Matt Berry. It's his first game performance, which we might have mentioned last week. But also we have the games, a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about this week, we mentioned about Gamescom that we discussed last time. So if you want some kind of exclusive footage that we put alongside our thoughts of games we played at Gamescom last year, there is a playlist on YouTube. So just go and scroll down and find the Gamescom playlist. And there's Black Myth Wukong, Plucky Squire. I think, thank goodness. Yeah, Plucky Squire. Yeah. So go and check those out. Anyway, Ed's flagging, so we will end it. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you probably in 2 weeks 2 weeks, but there'll be a lot because there'll be a podcast and there'll be a bunch of content of games.
Long one.
We'll definitely
hope to be a bit more awake.
I don't know if it'll be a long one, but there will be split podcasts of games that we've both been playing.
Okay.
So yeah, have a good one. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week. If we don't see you for a week, we'll see you through winter. Bye.
Bye.